G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, first up the weather report. It blew its ass off yesterday. We're getting some cool southwesterlies through. 7 degrees this morning, but yesterday it only made it to 20 degrees. And I went out yesterday and took a little bit of clip of the wind in the paddock here. But look at the gusts come through way stronger than the bit of video there. Well, there's the weather report. Actually bloody blowy. These old trees up here are getting pushed around a bit. It's a bit cool today, nice clear skies. 20 degrees is going to be the maximum, which is a bit chilly for us. But yeah, we don't get too many blowy days. It's quite windy out here, and when I'm trying to video, the doors on the shed are rattling and banging away, so I'll have to chuck a wedge or something in them to keep them quiet. And I couldn't really film in the shed here. By the time I had the wind and the big sliding doors, I have sliding doors on the shed, and they all rattle in the tracks, and yeah, a few leaves and that, or little twigs and branches popping onto the roof from the bush behind us there. So yeah, this is Sunday morning, nice and early before any wind starts up. There's a sneaky breeze, a bit of mother-in-law's breath out there, that bloody cold wind down the back of your neck, and so it's not too bad. But I've got the back door of the shed closed, blocking the breeze out, and the shed faces north, so when the sun's up, it'll be off and racing, and it'll be a good thing. So, but anyway, what's happened for the week? Well, look, this week I didn't film, as I said, because of the wind, and I've been parting off a heap of these washers that I've had to be making for the slasher discs. We seem to be having a real run on them. Like, I made 8 the other day, and then we're out of stock again, and so we're trying to get a little bit ahead of the market with those fellas. And I'm trying to use up a bit of old shaft, and this is shaft out of the sugar mill, and well, I'll be glad to see the end of it actually. By the time you run carbide down to tidy it up and get a nice machine surface on the outside, and then you've got to turn it around to get your 4 out of that little block, and well, that's a pain in the ass. But anyway, that's what I've chosen to do with it, and the steel place, they're going to get me some more of the 75mm round bright steel shaft to do it with. But in the meantime, we're doing these fellas. But that's brought us to another problem. Is when you're parting off through here, like that's 3 inches close enough, and this is a 3/4 hole in the centre. So by the time you bring your parting tip in here, most of my jobs in the shed here, I can get away with these 2mm tips. But on the 3, I broke one tip out on. Well, it must have been this one still. I'm still using the thing, but the tips are a bit soft if you crank your speed up to knock him through, and these seem to burn the edge a little bit. And but look, I broke one I was talking a couple of weeks back now. I think I told you about it, and this last tip I had, the edge has gone right off it. So I thought, geez, that's bloody quick. I'd only done like, well, probably 8. Well, I got halfway through, so probably 4 or 5 of these parting off, and it got blunt. So I thought, I'll jump on eBay and have a look, because this is the SP226. There you go, and it takes SP200 carbide inserts. So I jumped on my normal eBay haunts and had a look for them, and the engineer's shop, they're out of stock. Peter's out of stock. No one has any stock at the moment. They have them in their list, and when you drop down to choose a size, they're out of stock. So I jumped onto Hare and Forbes to have a look. I thought, well, yeah, that's where I bought them originally, and yeah, perhaps they'll give me some tips to get me out of strife, but no such luck. Whereas once they sold these tip holders like this with just the wedge type jam in end sort of thing, they don't sell them anymore. And so I thought, oh, what do I do? And I do have some. Someone gave me sometime a 32 by 3 Iscar SGFH 3mm parting blade, and I thought, oh, I might just try and find some tips for that, but I couldn't buy any I was sure fitted. I thought they might, but I just wasn't 100% sure. And then I also have a 3 by 32 Sandvik parting off blade, and look, a mate gave me this, and he gave me this as well, and he also gave me the holder for them, and that's a Sandvik parting blade holder, and the number's 151.2-2520-25, and up the top here might be the part number, just the top clamping thing. It's 5412120-02. So that was too big for my lathe, being a 25mm tool. So if you can see in the back there, the shiny bit of shiny bit up here too, I machined it down to fit my 16mm tool holders. So I just milled him down off the bottom, and away we went. So anyway, with these tools, I wasn't sure I had the right tips when I found them, and I thought, oh, what do I do? So I ended up going back to Hare and Forbes and having a look at their new design. And their new design, it's SGIH 26J2, and that's a 2mm by 26mm parting off blade. And they've got a new design on the end there where they use the Kennametal inserts, and the 3mm does the same. And so I thought, well, that mightn't be a bad way to go, and obviously I've got them in my hand, so I went that way. And there's a couple of reasons I went that way. You're not using Chinese inserts. Like, these are Chinese inserts, and they're not lasting very well. For my normal stuff around, you know, with a bit of inch or a bit of 3/4, or, you know, make a bolt and dick around, well, look, these have been adequate. And I actually bought an extra spare blade when I bought them originally. I thought, oh, well, if I bugger one up, I've got something up my sleeve to go. But the Chinese inserts haven't really been up to scratch, not for doing this sort of thing. And so I thought, well, with these Kennametal inserts, they're a good name brand. The KC5025, it's good for mild steel, stainless, and all that sort of thing. So I thought, well, I'd bite the bullet and I'd buy the 2 parting blades, and I bought a box of each parting tips from Hare and Forbes. So I'm not all that keen on dealing with Hare and Forbes, as you know, and so I jumped on eBay, and then there's I think it's United Tools or something down in Victoria. You can buy these tips off them too. And look, there's probably other places, but that was just the other day when I looked for an alternative source. And so anyway, I hooked it up and away I went. Well, look, duck's nuts. I'm really pleased. This tip, because I was having a bit of chat, a bit of flex and all that, I actually went to the 3mm tool, a wider parting tool with a deeper base here. I felt it was more rigid, and we'd have a crack at that. Well, geez, I'm glad I did. I cranked my speed up. In the past, I found any time I part slow, I have trouble. So this bit of 3-inch, I'm sitting on 840 RPM, for parting, and look, it's great. These new Kennametal parting tips, they have two high sides and a curve in the centre, and the curve in the centre, even though they're a 3mm tip, the curve in the centre seems to distort the swath and bring it in narrower. So I did a couple of runs yesterday, and well, I parted all these off yesterday because I broke my tip on the first one last time, and on the last time. Oh, that's Sunday morning. And so yeah, with this, I did some measurements, and when you have a 3mm groove, you pull the swath out and measure it, and your swath has dropped down to about 2.7 to 2.9. So I thought that was a good thing. As in, if you've done much parting, well, with these blades here, these ones here, they're sort of similar in design, but you can feel the swath sort of jamming in the groove a little bit, and from time to time you would anyway. But these ones here, yeah, because of the cut, it just seems to go well. So I've got I've got 7, I've got 8 parted off so far with the one blade, or with the one tip, and no sign of wear. Like it's going great gun. So even though it was an expensive exercise, to buy one blade I think is, look, close to $100. They're about $100, and to buy a packet of 10 tips was another $109, I think. So it's an expensive exercise. Yeah, I had to talk myself into it on whether I got these going. These washers here, like, we sell them for $35 each, and once I get set up, I can only do about 4 at a time. If I go much more outhangs than this, my jaw comes here, you get a bit of chatter down the other end of my little Chinese lathe here that I use, my AL335, and so it's a bit of a muck around. Probably if I geared up for the big lathe to do them, I could probably have a bit more hanging out and things like that, but I've chosen to do it on this one. This has got the digital readout on it, so I can just run down to me proper depths that I like, and the idea of it all is that we have the washer there, and we have the bolt goes in, and when you're under a slasher, like a topper overseas, these are these old Schulze things, and they have a slasher blade in here with a bush and the beam up here, and this bush actually protects the head of the bolt, and the blade pivots on it. So when we do the hole there, we actually have to make sure that we got enough room to put a socket in to get it off. So I usually use an impact socket as a guide. So like for a 3/4 hole, you have an 1 1/8 spanner, and I run the hole out to about 160 or 1.6 inches, so 1 inch 600th. So yeah, so the money I spent on parting blades this week, I'll have to sell about 8 or 10 of these bloody bushes just to break even. But that's all right. We're geared up, and look at these little Chinese buggers that I bought. I've had them for years, so they've lasted well over that time. So I got a feeling that these Kyocera inserts are going to last a lot longer, and look, they're just nicer in general to part with. So the Toolmaster, oh, there's a part number there, M6Z049 for the 3mm, and M6 by D44 for the 2mm. And like, for my normal run-of-the-mill parting, 2mm is good. It's nice and thin. It seems okay. You know, it's always worked well for me in the past. But with this job, and I seem to, I don't know, now Schulze's passed on, the old bloke that made those slashes. Word must be getting around town that we can do these washers for them, because we are rattling through a few. So that's a good thing. This is one of the tool holders that I got off Banggood. Banggood asked me to have a chat about. Nothing wrong with it, like it's going great. But I did, like I said, I've Loctited the main adjustment screw in, and I've got stainless steel screws holding the tool in, and look, that will just stay with that parting tool now, and this one here with the 2mm, that will stay there too. So that's Lance's week with parting tools. Bloody things. Yeah, I thought I wouldn't get it much of a chance, but yesterday with the wind, and we did a bit of sorting out Fergie parts, and we had a bit of a yarn with Sparex, which are, as you know, a channel sponsor for the tractor parts on the restorations, and the two tractors that I bought the other week, the TEF diesel TE20 Fergie and the Ford 4600, they've given us go ahead to order the parts for those. So they're sponsoring those jobs, so there'll be quite a bit more tractor work coming up, and that's all right. I enjoy that hobby. I enjoy the machining, and but I'm really a diesel fitter. I'm a tractor mechanic. That's how I earned my money for 40 years, and I still do with tractors, and machining. I just dick around with me machines, and look, I love machining. It's a great hobby, and makes the parts for my tractor restoration, so that's a good thing. Now, in the past, you'll see this plastic box here. Yep, you can see it. In the past, that's been where I've had all my inserts, and there's bloody all shapes and sizes, and round ones, and short parting blades, and TCMTs, and little ones for boring bars and all that sort of stuff. But look, my old box is getting full here. They're anvils for behind them, and the bloke gave me a big handful one time of used tips, so I'm too scabby to chuck them out. So the missus went to town yesterday, and I said, can you get me a set of drawers to put me tips in, please, so I can find them easy, because every time I need to have a look, even though this 12 compartment box, even though I try and keep them in triangles and squares and all that sort of thing, well, you know, in the heat of the moment, it doesn't quite happen. So she bought me this little thing of 20 drawers from Bunnings, and look, a box of inserts fits in there nicely, so so that won't be a bad thing, and I can even sit them on the side, so what doesn't sit down the centre there, it'll go alright. Then the Kyocera one, my new Kyocera ones don't quite, but anyway, we'll work with that, eh? That's the best of being handy. So I'll probably sit down this morning and sort out my tips, my carbide inserts, and put them on here. And I suppose on the front here I'll just draw a little design or a trace around one, or if I do the TCMT and yeah, all that, I'll have to get the book out each time to see what it is. If I just write the insert code, I'll have to get the book out to see what I'm looking at. But which might be a bad way of learning actually all the different types of tips, or the proper name. So when you're looking for them, because I do buy, if I see a lathe tool on eBay that I haven't got with a particular diamond point on it or something like that, I often do buy it. And if it's a 1-inch one or 20mm one, and I only have 16mm tool holders, well, I chuck them in the mill and I just mill the back off them, and that gives me a wider tool, so I'm still sitting at say 1 inch wide but only 16mm thick, but it gives you a really rigid tool, better than the some of the 16x16 Chinese type ones. If you buy the good brand ones second hand off eBay through Tooling Station or someone like that, I think you get better quality stuff and they seem better. So I still muck around with that. I haven't gone any further on my quick change tool post holder stand as yet. Just haven't had time. Just been a busy time. Now, I got myself a new motorbike yesterday, and I'll after the clip I'll show you. But I have a mate Dave, and Dave's a contractor with one of the big road building mobs in town here, and from Christmas to probably the first third or half of the year, they just had no work. Like the government wasn't releasing money for road repairs. The economy was a bit shit, and no one wanted to spend too much money. So he had truck payments and the daughter at uni and all this stuff happening, and no work. So, but he had time to muck around with his tractors, and we share a common interest in doing up vintage tractors. But he's got an old Fordson Model N tractor, and it had steel wheels on it, but it's a ex-Land Army one, and it had the plaque on the fuel tank, the copper plaque, saying how to operate and all that. And in the war, I think it's 1938 he said, but look, I may be wrong with that date. And he got it, and we had it out. He unloaded in my paddock here one time, a couple of years ago now, and he's got it going, and he got it painted green, Land Army colours. But in the past, putting steel wheel tractors up and down on trailers, getting them to shows, especially if it's wet or dewy, it can be a bit of a hassle, a bit slippery. So he's had a tractor actually slide down the ramps on him, and with steel wheel tractors, you often can't drive particular places, especially like if you're going to a show at a school. They don't want steel wheel tractor marks across the oval, or some of the showgrounds where there's got to be horses coming behind you or something like that. So he decided he'd put rubber tyres on it. So he had the big old back cast centres for the rubber tyres that came with it, but it had steels on the front. So with one of my tractor parts suppliers, I saw some Fordson hubs, and there's a hub set up with the bearings. No, not with the bearings. He had to supply the bearings, but with the studs. I bought the hubs, the wheel studs, the nuts, and gave him a couple of rims, and he just had to go and put the tyres on. I don't think we gave him the rims with the tyres, but look, we may have. I can't remember. It's getting back 12 months ago now, or anyway, earlier in the year, and anyway, he was having a rough trot, and but he had time to work on his tractor, so I bought all these parts in and just gave them to him. So, and he's always been on about, I have to pay you for those parts. I said, no, Dave, don't bloody worry about it. Just she's good. I'm happy. Let's get out and about and go to some shows together and have a bit of fun. It's all good stuff. And I'd never bought them before, so I didn't know how they would fit. And from the experience, we learnt that there's different wheel bearings in those Fordsons, and we actually needed a 3/16 spacer turned up to space the bearing out on that particular model, which is stuff we wouldn't have known otherwise. So anyway, I was happy for him to have them. And anyway, he's always been on me a bit. Oh yeah, I'll have to fix you up. No, piss off. And anyway, when he was having a rough trot, he told me about he had this little Deltec rock hopper mini bike, with the original Victor motor in it and all that. And he said, a bit short on money, so I might sell that little mini bike. So I said, well, I'll buy it. And I said, tell me what you want and I'll buy it off you. And then, look, he didn't know because he bought it for his kids ages ago, and his daughter wasn't really interested in it. But they're a sought after little collector's item thing. And anyway, he come and saw me one day and he said, look, I've decided not to sell that mini bike. And I said, that's all right, Dave. Yeah, she's good. And but anyway, he rang me up the other day and he said, me and the missus, we're getting some of his stuff sorted out. Like he's a bit crook, and he's doing a bit of a shuffle with some of his gear. Some of the stuff, like all of us, you end up with way too many tractors, and he ends up with a few trucks and a few bits and pieces. So he's having a shuffle and keeping the stuff that he really likes or that has a family tie to him, and letting the rest go. So anyway, he rings me up the other day and he says, that mini bike, he says, you're still interested? And I said, yeah, all right, I'll buy it off you. And he says, no, you can have it. And I said, no, well, I'll buy it off you, eh? And he says, no, he says, but tell you what, you give me those wheels, he says, I'll give you the mini bike. He says, then we'll be square. And I said, are you sure? I said, you don't owe me anything for those wheels, we're square already. And anyway, long story short, which is a bit odd for me, he brought it around yesterday, so it's been sitting a long time and the chain's a bit seized, and yeah, it's a bit of a clanger, and that's all right. So we've got another little project we're going to have a play with, and in amongst the other stuff. So we're going to have a play with this little Deltec Rockhopper mini bike. It's got the original Victor motor in it, with the sticker on the front and the Rockhopper sticker on the front, but as per all that cheap chrome, the handlebars are rusty and the fuel tank's rusty and a few things like that. So look, I'll take you for a bit of a walk around that, just out of interest anyway. But look, that's probably all we have today. Later on, I may, if I get back to parting and the wind's not too loud, I might just show a couple of runs of parting with the new tools, because I'm impressed with the difference. Yeah, I've only ever had a HSS parting blade, which I never got on with particularly well, or these little Chinese ones. And look, I was reasonably happy with them, but now I've gone up to these Kyocera ones. I won't be going back. The difference is it's incredible. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a comment down the bottom. Say good day, and we'll catch up with you later, eh? Well, there you go. Never seen such a wild beast. Look, I'm 57 and I can remember these as a kid, And I put a picture on my Facebook page of it, and well, the people that have got them, that have still got them, that remember them and all that. I do have the chain guard with it. But yeah, the chrome and all, we need a brake lever for it, and we'll the old Rockhopper, it had the shockies there. Kelly's not real sure about this bike, not even worth a second look really. But yeah, oh well, she's gonna have a look now. Probably got a couple of good mousy ratty smells or something on it. So, but yeah, there you go. There you go. Not quite a Harley, is it? But should be a good bit of fun. I reckon we'll get it going and yeah, run up to the shed and back and look, just to have fun. I really want to get it going for the grandkids when they get a bit older. It'll be a bit of fun, but there you go. Okay, bit of possum pea. Let's get up. Chatters a bit on the first one off. Change camera angles.
Well, this is a little Ziggy cooker that we bought, and I'm just getting it set up for doing a pork roast. We've never done a roast in this little one before. It's new to us. We have the big barbie out here. Pardon me. The sun's getting a bit glary, isn't it? But we have the big barbie there that does all the steaks and bits and pieces when we want to. But this is the pool room. I don't think I've ever shown you all this. There's a 60-inch TV up there. We've got a dartboard. We get up there pretending we know what we're doing. We play pool and we sit around the table here having 10 or 20 quiet ones. We've got a bed for the dog near the fire. We have a fire that we light about twice a year, but just because we like to have a fire. Grandkids come over. Dog reckon it's a bloody good place to have a sleep. And the beer fridge. And Bundaberg rum. God, bloody hard to find a nicer brew, isn't it? Right, and look at this. That's our pork roast. We've scored the skin, we've rubbed salt in, we've put a bit of pepper on, we've got a bit of oil over the top. So we'll just sit it in the oven here for the temperature just to neutralise. We've had it in the fridge up until an hour or so ago, so we'll just sit it in here out of harm's way. And away we go. We'll sit and look outside. We've got the pool fence here. We haven't got a pool, we've got the pool fence here just to keep the kids in. And there's a pig I made. That's a cooker that I can hook a rotisserie up onto. And hey, good looking pig, eh? But yeah, we often cook on that. Oh, pardon me, just had a sneeze. But yeah, we sit here and have a beer and we just look out. That's where Grumpy Dave lives. And we just look out up to the garden here and listen to the birds and have a nice time. That must be nearly time for a Shiraz. Bit of Jacob's Creek. And here we go. We got the fire going. You don't even think we're cold. Got the lights on. Should get nice and dark in here soon. And got the barbie cooking. Got my big rum can there. Good stuff. Look at this. Dog's got the best chair. Harry's eating bickies. Judy's helping babysit. Bree's having a fight. Tim's over here having a beer. Not as good looking as his old man, but he can't help that, eh? Look at that, bit of garlic bread going on. Ready to rock and roll. All looking good. And there we go, a couple of kangaroos in the back paddock. Bundy Bear sheds up the back there. Kelly says, I wouldn't mind chasing them buggers. It's on Zoom, I'm trying not to wriggle. Not doing much of a job really. Looks like one's going over the fence. Standing back. There he goes. No trouble at all.